4 of those years studying men and creating the Celebrating Men, Satisfying Women workshop series. So many of you who listen to Dennis Prager may know she's a frequent guest on that, and she's very proud of that. And so we're very appreciative that she's here with us this morning. Would you please give her a warm Inside Edge welcome, Alison Armstrong.
I kind of freaked out when Larry said 4 of those years. No, more like 20. We had a typo there. Good morning, everybody. First, thank you for the honor of being voted one of the best of the Edge in the last 25 years. I was very, very, very honored to receive that. I know you have an extraordinary lineup of speakers here, and to be counted as one of the best of them is a real privilege. I want to give a little background on our topic today because it might sound kind of strange. You know, this is Alison Armstrong. Isn't she all about the differences between men and women? What is she doing talking about trust and pressure? What does that have to do with men and women? And just to back up a little bit, before I started studying men in 1991, I was absolutely certain that I was not getting what I needed from men because either A, they did not care what I needed, or B, they were actively withholding it. That was where I started in 1991. And after I committed myself to studying men, when I found out I was bringing out the worst in them, I've told that story here before, so I won't do it again, one of the first things that I learned was how much men want women to have what they need. And it was absolutely shocking to me to hear from man after man after man after man how important it was to them to give women what they need. And even Jim, where's Jim? Here's my hero. Is he out of the room, right? He was right there. He is. He's on the video. I needed a flip chart. And Jim just went to town making it happen. And even as he was doing it, he said, when a woman says she needs something, you got to get right on it. And it was, I mean, it was perfect. It was exactly what I had discovered, that men are absolutely committed to women having what they need. So then what's the problem? Well, then I found out one of the problems was women had no idea what they needed. When I taught them men want to give you what you need, they're like, but I don't know what I need. And so we created another workshop for women to figure out what they need. And its nickname is the Queen Workshop. And it has women figure out, really, what do you need? Not just what do you want, right? We can want and want and want and want. But everything you want, what do you need? And how do you know that you need it? Well, so we got that sorted out. And then we ran into all these issues of deserving, right? Oh, but I don't know that I deserve what I need. And we found out, women have a way of figuring out what they deserve. And you've been on the other end of this as well, men and women. We figure out what we deserve by what have we given, what have we sacrificed for that person, and how much more important are we than they? That's what we deserve from somebody. And you probably ran into this with your mother. When your mother would say, after all I've sacrificed for you, right? To which we usually respond, if you'd asked me, I would have told you not to. Right? But women will sacrifice themselves, and then the other person now owes them something, even though the other person didn't sign up for that sacrifice. How many of you can relate to what I'm talking about? Yes. Well, that's a whole other thing. We'll have to talk about it later. So then we got into this whole issue of deserving, and I had to unravel all of that, and we do that also in the Queen course. Just, deserving for men and women. This is the bottom line. For men and women, you need more than you deserve. You need more than you deserve. Ladies, by the way, I told you how we figure out what we deserve. Do you know how men figure out what they deserve? They take all the good they've done in their lives and subtract all the harm they've never forgiven themselves for. And the end of that equation is what they deserve. And they won't ask for more than they deserve. And then even if the equation turns out like that they actually deserve to get what they need, if the person they need it from is having a harder time than they are, they don't want to impose. They won't ask. Guys, you know this. You will not ask for what you need if the person you need it from you judge is worse off than you. They're more stressed. They're more tired. They're more upset. They're more challenged. You won't ask for what you need. So we actually live in a culture where men and women run around with flat tires. Empty gas tanks and flat tires. We don't ask for what we need. We don't ask for what we need to be great, to be able to be great with each other. We don't ask for enough sleep so that we can wake up with all the qualities that sleep gives us. We don't ask for enough sex so that we can run around the world with that tank topped off and all the qualities that enough sex gives us. We don't ask for enough attention. We don't ask for enough alone time. We don't ask for the things that when we get them, we get to be great human beings. And one of the reasons we don't ask is because of issues of deserving. So that's another thing I have to wail on. That's the whole dragon to wrestle, and we wrestle it in our Queen Workshop with women, and we wrestle it in a Heroes Challenge with men. But then, even when you get that handled, there's this whole other thing. Most men and women don't ask for what they need in a way that the person on the other end can act upon it. And that's where trust and pressure comes in. Now, Larry, it was so cute how you set this up. How you interpreted reading what I was going to talk about, because you talked about that women pressure men a lot. Guys, something you don't know about yourself? If you're on our property, you're pressuring us. Seriously. As a man, most men, there are a few who don't, but most men exert pressure on the people around them just by being there. Ladies, how many of you know what I'm talking about? Yes, yes. So this trust and pressure business is a problem of both too much pressure and too little pressure. So people who put too much pressure on, and they don't even realize they don't know they're putting so much pressure on that the person on the other side can't think. There's so much pressure, they can't think. They can't sort themselves out. And they haven't acted because they can't even get their arms around acting upon what's being asked for because the pressure that's coming at them is so high. How many of you know someone who you have that response to? There's so much pressure in the way that they ask you, it immediately creates a resistance for you. You just start by resisting because there's so much pressure. On the other end, there are men and women who exert so little pressure in their ask that the person on the other end doesn't even know they've been asked for something. They don't even know. You find out 6 months later, they say, I've been asking you this for 6 months. How many of you have ever been told that? I've been asking you this for this for years, right? We didn't even know you were asking. I just thought you were sharing. Are you starting to see it? Both sides. Then there's this other thing that happens, okay? And this is where a predictable escalation of pressure shows up. Because what someone will do, this is one side of the coin, okay? Someone asks, and then they ask, and then they ask again, and they ask again, and they ask again, and they ask again, and and they ask again, and they ask again. I want you to do this. Go like this on your arm. Keep the same amount of pressure. Keep it steady. Just keep doing it, the same amount of pressure. Ask, 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 ask. After a while, your arm's going to get irritated. Then it's going to go numb. Gentlemen, you call this nagging. That's what happens when you don't escalate from an ask. You just ask, 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 ask. And what happens when you just ask, 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 is you train your partners. We train our husbands, we train our employees, we train our children, we train our friends, that we don't really mean it. That we're not really serious about what we're asking for. We just ask, 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 and if you don't give it to us, nothing happens. And that communicates, I don't really mean this. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And this is the problem, okay? All of us only have enough energy to provide for other people what we can tell really matters to them. That's what we provide. We only want to spend our energy on giving other people what really matters to them. Guys, that's all you want to do. You want to give what really matters, yes? I need a show of hands or the ladies won't believe me. Thank you. You want to do what really matters. You don't want to score 2 points. You want to score 100. You want to do what really matters for the people in your life. What really makes a difference. But you have to hunt for that. You have to sort through all these fishing expeditions to figure out what really matters here. What should I spend my time on, my energy on, my resources? I can't tell. I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. But of all those things that you want, what really matters? And how you can tell something really matters is by predictable escalation of pressure. Jim got it. Jim got me having a flip chart up here really mattered. That it would make all the difference in the world in how this went. You being able to look at what I'm able to put up here instead of just talking about it. How many of you know you're visual learners? Yeah. It really matters to have something that you can look at. So, do we have a flip chart? No, we don't have a flip chart. Oh boy, we really don't. We don't have a flip chart. But and the pressure came up. And the pressure, and then Jim got it. This really matters. And then it was worth his time and his energy. And he made it happen. He made it happen for me, and he made it happen for you. Can we thank him for doing that? Yeah. But ladies, you know this is true about you too. You want to do for other people what really matters. That's why you're paying attention so closely and listening so closely. And he's talking about his day, and you just made the Christmas list. Because you want to give him what's really going to matter. And the things he was really frustrated to not have. Okay, we're going to get him some of those. The things he was really excited about having. Okay, we're going to get him some more of those. We all want to do what really matters. But either in too much pressure, so the person can't hear how this matters, or in too little pressure, it doesn't register that it matters. Most of us run around with not getting what we need and thinking that our partners actually don't care. They care, it's just not registering. So that's what this morning's about. It's about teaching you how to have it registered and how to build trust in your partners by a predictable escalation of pressure. Because unfortunately what happens is we freak people out. One of the ways we freak people out is we ask. I want a divorce. Ask. You're fired. I want a divorce. You're fired. I quit. You're out of here. we go from ask to enforce. We ask, and then I can't trust him for that. I'm never going to give him that kind of project again. He can't be trusted. We go from ask to enforce. Some of us start at demand. If you don't do this for me, we're just going to have to stop. Somebody comes at you like that, they haven't even given you a chance, and they're already threatening you? Who wants to be a partner with someone like that? No, you go straight to enforce. Never mind, I'm out of here. I don't want to play with you. That was a good leap off the stage, wasn't it? I'll try to stay in my box. 3 more inches. So what I'm going to do now, I want to talk about what if you were predictable? What if your pressure always came up in a very predictable degrees so that the person on the other side could always see you coming? Always had the chance to register, oh, this matters to him. Oh, this matters to her. I got it. Now what do I need to give it to them? What if that's how you always communicated? So the people around you didn't have to live in a state of unawareness or in a state of fear. It was always clear, and it always came predictably so you could catch on. How many would you like to have to be interacted with that way? That it was always was predictable, always came at you, you were always clear about it, you were never having bad surprises. I learned this, it's going to sound really funny. I learned this from a horse. Seriously, I learned this from a horse. 3 summers ago, I started taking horseback riding lessons because I wanted to get over a fear of riding that had occurred from a bad fall. And I was lucky enough to have as my neighbor one of the best horse trainers in the country. She's extraordinary. And she didn't put me on the back of the horse. She put me in front of the horse. And she taught me how to communicate with a horse through a predictable escalation of pressure. So the horse could always see me coming. Now, what I had at the time was called a sissy stick, because I would never go to enforce. I never committed myself to the whole conversation. And the horse could tell. The horse could tell when I asked them for something that I didn't really mean it. That I didn't really mean it. I was hoping to get it, but I didn't really need it, and I wasn't going to have the entire conversation. And what I got to learn from interacting with these 4-legged embodiments of partnership, that's who they are, they're extraordinary. What I got to learn from the horse was, if I'm not willing to go to enforce, if I'm not willing to have the whole conversation, don't even start. Don't even start. If I'm not willing to have the whole conversation, I'm not clear enough yet that I actually need this. I'm just fishing. I'm just seeing if I can get it from somebody. Let's try to see if I can get that out of you. That if I'm not willing to go all the way to enforce, I actually don't need it. And stop asking people for things you don't really need. We waste it on you. We waste you when we ask you for things we don't really need. How many of you know what I'm talking about? People ask you for what they don't really need. Yeah. So I got to learn this from a horse, and one of the things that was really awesome is once you get clear about this and the people around you know that you only ask for what you really need, and you're always going to come at them with a predictable escalation of pressure, and you really are going to do what you say you're going to do, you very rarely actually get to enforce anymore. You don't have to. They already know how serious you are up here. You don't ever have to exert more pressure. And it's good for you and good for them. So for those of you who have a need to quantify, I like to quantify, I put here the level of pressure here, the escalation of pressure. So ask would be a pressure of 3, insist, you're escalating to a 5, demand to a 7, enforce to a 10. You might wonder, where are you before ask? Where are you before ask? My recommendation is that where you are is at a 1. You're present and available. You're owning your own space. You're not putting pressure on other people outside of your space. You're just present and available. But never a 0. Some of us retreat to 0. We actually disappear. We don't own our own space. People bump into us a lot, and we wonder why. We actually aren't owning our own space. So you would start at a 1 of owning your own space, and then escalate. When you ask, then you're going to go up to a 3. When you insist, you're going to go to a 5. Demand, that's now a 7. Enforce is a 10. Now, because we have a limited amount of time, what I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to give you a sense of what these conversations all look like, and then we're going to work on you having a great ask. I hope someday that's one of the highest compliments you can pay someone. Man, you got a great ask. All right? So we're going to go thoroughly into the elements of a great ask, because what we found is when you have a great ask, there's so much that can happen without you ever having to escalate the pressure. And then I'm going to give you some questions to think about. Write down and think about before you ever ask. Okay? So ask, I'm going to tell you the elements of. Insist is a reiteration of the ask and a, hey, you said you would do this. Was there something else you needed that you didn't anticipate? Is that why this didn't get done? Okay? Demand is, okay, wait a second, I asked you for this. You said you would do it. I gave you what you needed, what you said you needed to get it done. It still hasn't happened. If it doesn't happen now, and then you tell them what enforce looks like. If it doesn't happen now, it's going to tell me that I can't count on you, and I won't ask you for these kinds of things anymore. If it doesn't happen now, we're going to have to change the nature of our relationship, because it's clear we can't do these kinds of projects together. If it doesn't happen now, you actually tell them the enforce. What does enforce look like? And it's not always I quit, you're fired. Many times it's we're not going to participate in the same way together. But demand, if you wanted to write something down, demand always tells what enforce is. Now, many people are afraid to go to demand. But actually, when you go to demand, you're actually exhibiting your faith in another person. I'd like to give you another chance. Do you want another chance? Because if you don't want another chance, let's just end the misery now. You know how sometimes you actually don't want another chance? You're just hoping they'll release you? Yeah. What if you could have a conversation with someone where you could actually just say that, please don't give me another chance. I know I'm not going to get it done. So this is called aid. You can tell by, right, aid. And who you're aiding is your partners. By a predictable escalation of pressure, you're aiding them in giving you what you need because they want to. Ladies, one of the things that I encourage you to adopt is the assumption, if they can, they will. That's who a partner is. A partner is someone that if they can, they will. If they can, they will. So when your husband is saying, no, I can't do that, he's serious. If he would, if he could, but he actually can't. What he'd have to sacrifice is too much. It's something worth respecting. You know, as a woman, if you can, you will. Sometimes you can't and you still do. That's why we're so exhausted. Okay. You ready to learn how to have a great ask? Yeah? All right. Let's see how we're doing on time here. Okay, this will work. All right, so before I reveal this, let me say a couple things. What I'm going to give you are the 4 elements of a great ask. I encourage you to write these down, but don't number them because they're elements. They're not in order. Okay? They're elements. And they can go in a lot of different orders depending on the circumstances, and I'll tell you about that. All right. All right. Can everybody see this? Do you need to move a little bit so you can? You're okay? Can you see it too? Okay. So the first element of a great ask is a simple statement of I need. Ladies, this is really important that you get this simple statement nature because we very rarely deal in simple statements. And a woman will follow you, and a man's brain is not meant to. It wasn't made that way. Okay, if you just said a simple statement of what you need instead of the 20-year history of why you need that and why you deserve it and why they ought to give it to you, which he gets lost in, okay, what was the point of that? What was the point? And the point is, and the point is, and the point is, how am I going to remember all this? Check out. Guys, how many of you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, we lose you. It's not that he wouldn't give you what you asked for. He just can't tell what it was. It got lost in all of that information. And you were probably talking really fast because you were afraid he was going to say no. So that made it even worse. So I need a simple statement of I need. I need a glass of water. I need the kitchen sink fixed. I need the sales report by Friday, not the following Monday. I need more sex. Oh, good. Woke you up there for a second. Okay. I'm a big proponent of people having more sex. We'll go back to that. So, I need is one element. Another element is a description of what that would look like. This is where details show up. This is where you have to sort for details that are actually valuable information and details that are just going to lose the person who's listening. The detail of how your mother did it, not important. The detail of how you want it done, important. Okay? So this is what it is, when it would happen, how often it would happen, by when it would happen. This is what would it look like. Describe this. Now, this may seem really obvious, but in all my work with couples, this element next to this element, causes them the most trouble. They assume that the other person knows what they mean. Years ago, I told my husband, I need affection from you every night. He said, you want to have sex every night? Well, that told me what affection looked like for him. But that wasn't what I was asking for, so I had to describe affection to him. Recently, he just stopped snuggling. I couldn't figure it out. What's the deal? Why aren't you snuggling? I said, honey, I miss our snuggling. I need to snuggle. He said, I can't rub your back every night. I couldn't even describe it to him, so I demonstrated snuggling to him. I showed him all these different things that counted as snuggling, including that he had the remote control in his hand. No back rub required, just physical connection. Even just lying on the bed and our legs are crossed over each other. That would count as snuggling. I got my snuggler back. So don't assume the person knows what it would look like. That's one of the reasons we go without what we need, because we haven't described what it would look like. A man will say to his wife, I need more support. So she will support him the way support looks like to her. Support to a man and support to a woman look completely different. So whenever, empower yourself with this, by the way, whenever someone asks you for something, say, and what would that look like? Say that to the person next to you. And what would that look like? Yeah. You have the right. You have the right to empower yourself. By the way, a great ask is a dialogue. I'm going to come back to this. A great ask is a dialogue. So some of these elements, the person who's asking isn't generating it. You might say, I need more sex. And your husband says, and what would that look like? Right? Should I give up on the sex theme? No? Okay. Keeps the energy up, so to speak. All right. It's very early in the morning. We have to do something to wake up. All right. So then the third element is it would provide. It would provide. This is the number one thing that people leave out of their asks. They leave out the points. They leave out, this is worth 100 points. This is the difference this would make. This is why it matters to me. This is the impact you would have by giving me what I'm asking for. And that's all we want to have is impact. Right? We only want to do things that make a difference. So this is where you're telling the other person, this is the difference it would make. This is what it would give me. This is what it would allow to have happen. This is what I could create. These are the results we would have. These are the qualities I could be. When I told my children when they were little, two of them are taller than me now. When I told my children that if they let me sleep until 7 o'clock, I could be patient for them. That's what that would give me, is being patient. And they loved Mom being patient. Life was great when Mom was patient. She said yes a whole lot more often when she was patient. One of my favorite memories is hearing this whisper outside the door. Shh, if we wait till it's a 7, Mom will be patient. Yes. So what would it provide? The things that you're not receiving from your family members, your spouse, your boyfriend, the people who work for you and with you, your clients even. You can have a great ask with clients. This is what I need. This is what it would provide. I need this information from you by Thursday. What it would provide is I could meet your deadline. I could give you what you needed by when you need it. So can you see when you tell other people what to provide, that's what's in it for them? Because they want you to be that way. They want you to be patient. They want you to meet deadlines. They want you to feel more connected in the world. They want you to be able to be more focused. They want you to be able to be more productive. The things that it would provide, this is what's in it for them, what's in it for you, and this is how many points it's worth. Is that clear? Okay, last element. This is the thing when I talk to people, well, I've asked him and asked him. Did you say, what do you need to give me what I need? No. Then you didn't actually ask him. If you don't say, what do you need to give me what I need, it's just a demand. It's just a demand. It's you have to give this to me. I'm going to take it from you. We call this the partner question. This is when it becomes a real partnership. Thanks, Larry. What do you need to give me what I'm asking for? You could say, is there anything you need to give me what I'm asking for? Now, who can see what this word says right here? Release. Release. This is another place where we blow it. Because if I now have a pressure of 3, and I'm now telling, is it pronounced Dawn? Dion. If I'm telling Dion, this is what I need, this is what it would look like, this is what it would provide for me, is there anything you need to give me what I'm asking for? Now, if I keep the pressure on her, she can't think so well. What does she need to give me what I'm asking for? I have to say, is there anything you need to give me what I'm asking for? And release. Return to 1. Give her her space, because that pressure of 3 inserted into her space. Back off. Let her think. You ladies, sometimes what you're going to do, men not so much, mostly girls do this, is there anything you need to give me what I'm asking for? I hope not, 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 I hope not. Opposite. Opposite. If someone says, no, okay. Oh, uh-oh. They don't need anything. Don't be all happy they don't need anything. They don't need anything because they didn't pick it up. People need stuff when they're like, okay, would you do this for me? Well, let me take a look at it. Well, yeah, I'd need 3 days. I need to be able to check back with you halfway through the project. And I need to measure your kitchen. That's someone who's actually picking it up. That's someone who's taking it on. If they, do you need anything to me what I'm asking for? Nah. They didn't pick it up. They didn't actually take it on. Can you see it? It's in their response. Is there anything you need to give me what I'm asking for? And then release and let them think about it. When I asked my husband for affection every night and described what that would look like, and then I said, is there anything you need to give me what I'm asking for? He said, yeah, I need you to come get it. Now as I realized he's a man. Men hate to be interrupted. What does that mean? It means you try not to interrupt other people. So there I am at the end of the evening, reading my book, engrossed, not coming up for air for an hour, and he's going to bed. He's not going to interrupt my reading to give me affection. But I was thinking he was the one that was not being affectionate. To this day, that's the deal. Come get it. He'll stop anything that he's doing to give me affection. He'll be in the middle of something on a computer, I'll crawl into his lap. It's awesome. But that's the deal. Come get it. Yeah, I need you to come get it. Other times I'm this multitasking nightmare. You'd have to lasso me to show me affection. Guys, how many of you can't catch up to the women in your life fast enough to show them affection? Yeah. Okay. Any questions about the elements of a great ask? And then I'm going to tell you how these might go in different orders. You guys got the elements? Arlene? We have a microphone. Okay.
Just a quick observation. When I looked at your chart in red down there, I thought it said please. I'm just wondering, do we leave that word out, or is that begging?
It can be begging. This isn't a complete script. This isn't the only way to do it. You want to make sure you have all 4 of these elements. You can add please if you want to.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, please. I'm sorry. I don't know your name. Christy.
Is there, from the male-female perspective, is there a different way in which a man would ask for what he needs in a simple statement versus a woman, or as you've written these, are they pretty much the way that a man or a woman would go through all those points?
Okay. It's a great question, by the way. I love that question. And this is why these are elements, and why one of the things that you can do if you want to really empower your partners and yourself is figure out what's your favorite way to be asked, and ask the people that you work with and live with, what's their favorite way to be asked. So for example, as the CEO of my company, I'm in the masculine mode often of protect and provide. So I'm the protector and I'm the provider. And what I care about is what will this provide for people. So my favorite way of being asked by one of my employees is for them to start by saying, there's something I need to get my job done. There's something I need to fulfill my accountability. There's something I need to meet the deadline. And then I go, really? What do you need? But I'm now, thank you, I'm now interested. I'm now invested. The provider in me is now invested. I'll go, really? What do you need? And then I want a simple statement. I want a simple statement. If you give me a barrage of details, you're driving me crazy. Just give me a simple statement and then let me pick up the dialogue. And how would that look like? I'll ask the questions to get the information that's missing for me. Don't assume I need to know all that. The chief operating officer of our company, and I mean, if you get the picture, we have 350 events a year. That's a lot of events, right? How Leslie likes me to ask of her is just for me to say, I just tell her what I need. I need a 500-person event in February. And then I release. I release at that point. And she takes the rest of the dialogue in the order that works for her. And only the elements. If she can already assume what that would provide for me, she's not worried about what it would provide for me, then she'll say, I have some questions about what that would look like. If I start in with what that would provide, she feels like I'm wasting her time trying to convince her to do something she's already going to say yes to. Shut up! She'll say, you had me at hello.
So basically what you're saying is don't assume that when you are going through this that you're talking to the man or the woman from their male or female side. Identify where they're coming from, and as in the example you gave, this is your male attributes that are showing through in that particular example.
Exactly. Yes, a woman can be in protect and provide mode, or she can be in support and enhance mode. It depends. Some women, it depends on the room of their house they're in, right? As a man, you just have to understand that you've got to let him request the details. If you give him details that he doesn't need, you're going to give him the sense that he's wasting his time and he's not getting the information he needs to act on. Yes, last one, and then we're going to go on.
So if you ask, what do you need to give me what I'm asking for, and the answer is, I need to know you're going to love me. I need to know that you're going to be in a good mood for a long time. And it's a whole list of things. Yeah, what do you do with that?
You're not going to like my answer. What do you do with that is you realize that who's talking to you is someone who doesn't feel loved and doesn't feel like you're in a good mood for very often, for very long, and that anything they do doesn't have a lasting impact. And why bother doing it if it's only going to matter for a minute?
So then the focus goes to the other person.
Well, if somebody says what you're saying, that my alarms would go off. Okay? That's why I said you might not like the answer. But I love that you asked the question, because when you say, what do you need to give me what I need, you have to suspend what you think are legitimate responses to that. Do you know, most women I know want the men in their households to take out the trash. And if you use this to ask a man to take out the trash and you tell him what it would provide for you, when men find out what taking out the trash provides for women, they are so interested in taking out the trash. Oh my God, I'd save you from the uglies. I'd save you from the stinkies. I'd save you from the sense of overwhelm you have. I'd save you from wanting to run out of the kitchen instead of staying and cooking. I'm up for that. Right? But then when you say, what do you need to give me what I need? Number one answer, tell me when you want me to take it out. Most women think that answer's ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. It's obvious when the trash needs to be taken out. If I have to tell you to take it out, I might as well do it myself. But ladies, I'm sorry, I don't get to take any more questions. Ladies, I got to tell you something. Why he wants you to tell him when you want him to take the trash out is because to him, the trash does not have an inherent need to be taken out. He's taking the trash out for you. He's doing it for you. It's personal. So he wants to know when you want him to do it for you so he can get the most points for doing it for you. Gentlemen? Yes! Yes! So you got to suspend your ideas of what are acceptable things to need, because if you don't, you're going to end up, it's going to blow it. You have to be willing to honor your partner. They're not just being difficult, they're being honest. This is a whole process of telling the truth. Okay, I'm going to give you some questions to ask yourself before you ever start asking. Before you ever open your mouth to say, honey, right? Or Madam Vice President, or whomever you're speaking to. Ask yourself these questions. It'll keep you out of trouble. Number one, do I really need this? Is this a whim? Is this a bonus? Or do you really need it? How do you know if you really need something? There's a consequence to not getting it. It's costing you to not have that. That's how you know you really need something. It's a requirement. We're paying a price for not having it. Am I willing to have the whole conversation? Are you willing? If they don't respond with ask, if they say they'll do it and then don't, are you willing to insist? Are you willing to go ahead and tell them what it costs you? Are you willing to enforce? If you're not willing to have the whole conversation, I suggest you don't begin. It doesn't matter enough to you. Okay? What is not having what I need costing? In who I can be, in what I can in what can be caused, in the future I see, in how I'm relating to my partner. So, gentlemen, well, men and women, this is something you don't know about each other. When a woman goes without what she needs, she grieves. She grieves because if it's important to her, she knows there's only a limited amount of time she's going to be able to go without it. And so she's grieving the loss of the future that she saw before. She's grieving the loss of that happily ever after that she imagined in this relationship or in this job. She begins grieving. And every time she goes without what she needs, she grieves some more. And she grieves some more. And when she's done grieving, she leaves. And she's so happy. And men, you're shocked. You're completely shocked. You're shocked that she's so happy. How can she be so callous? Because her leaving is the beginning of your grieving. But it's because she went without what she needed all those years. This relationship has been ending to her for years. Ladies, how many of you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So this is why this is why asking for what you need and having a great ask is so important. Because ultimately the consequences of not getting what you need is you're going to keep withdrawing and withdrawing and giving less and less. And same with your partners. With them not getting what they need, they are withdrawing from you. And that's why what's important about a great ask is you can cause another person to have a great ask. You can be the one that says, what do you need to get your job done? Okay, tell me what that would look like. What would that provide for you? Okay, this is what I need to give it to you. You can have a great ask no matter which side of the conversation you're on. Okay? So before Larry declares time, I want to tell you about the handouts that were left on your table so you know what they are. It's not just that sheet, Larry. It should be together with a pretty picture. Yes, exactly. So we have a lot of products. I have been getting as much of my information recorded as I can because of the difference people tell me that it makes. And I did not have the ability to bring all this stuff from Los Angeles. So I'm going to tell you something important that somebody might not tell you. Okay? So that pretty sheet is a description of our products. And there's a price sheet that gives you the prices. They're available on our website. These products are available on our website. I didn't bring them with me. But this is the thing I want you to know. If you would prefer a downloadable product instead of a physical product, don't buy these yet. By the middle of October, everything but our Understanding Women DVD is going to be available downloadable for a lot less money. So I'm preventing future upset by telling you now. Just hang on a minute. I'd recommend you sign on to our mailing list so we can tell you when those products are available. Now, can you bring me a Celebrating Partnership, Kathy? There is one thing that I brought with me because of everything we have, given what you all are up to. This is the thing that I recommend that you do get, and it is worth having in a physical form. This is called Celebrating Partnership with Alison Armstrong. It's 8 CDs. It comes with 2 workbooks. You can buy additional workbooks either in the physical form or downloadable. This product was created to give to men and women everywhere the conversations of partnership. How do you actually when you architect, when you're designing a partnership from the ground up, or restoring a partnership, what are the conversations to be had? What are the things to share and to listen? And how do you do that? And one of the most important things is, how do you make a deal? How do you make deals where nobody's compromising? How do you make deals where everybody ends up grinning? Whether it's a husband and a wife, a 12-year-old child and his mother, or everybody involved in your business. So when we recorded Celebrating Partnership, this is the at-home version of our $4,000 couples retreat. It's $195. It's the at-home version of that course. And we purposely recorded it so it wasn't just romantic partnerships. We had business partners in the room at the time. We had family members and friends in the room at the time. So it walks through how would you establish and maintain a partnership anywhere in your life. Now, we were teasing about sex earlier, okay? Because we knew this was going to be used in business, and it is. It's also used in schools. At the end of the 7th CD, it says, if you would like to continue and learn how to create delicious sexual partnerships, that's on CD number 8. So everything about sex, all the information you need to exchange about sex to have great sex when nobody wants to, is my contention. We need to have more sex than we want to. We cannot rely on our sex drives lining up with each other anymore. So that's on the 8th CD, and it's at the back of the workbook, so that if you do use this in another context. Although I really would like to be a fly on the wall to see how many people come up at the end of that board meeting and say, can I have the 8th CD? All right, so it's time. I'm going to be available in the lobby after you all do the stuff that you do. Again, thank you for having me be part of the best of the Edge, and I hope this helps you get more of what you need. Thank you very much.